Welcome back to the next episode of Lone Star College Football. Today we are going to do our pregame video for the Baylor Bears in Provo against the BYU Cougars. It's going to
Sure.
be a ranked top 25 matchup for both teams. So it's a good way to start week two. I love when college football starts and we get good games right off at the beginning of the season. We don't have to wait till conference play. With that being said, we're gonna shoot this over to Logan and let him open this up and tell us what he thinks about this game.
Man, I think this is going to be a great matchup. I think it's one of the higher ranked games this week as far as head to head. I just want to start off that BYU has this great offensive line and defensive line. Both of them are top of the country as well as Baylor. Um, this year, Puka Nakua is questionable, and according to the offensive coordinator, that is going to be a game time decision. Now, last year, he had 4 receptions for, I believe, like 140 yards, 138 yards with a touchdown. We just had too small of a corner on him. He was just going up, grabbing it, getting dunked on every time. Um, for the sake of Baylor, I hope that he sits out this game to get ready for the rest of the season. But for Puka Nakua's sake, I want him to be healthy, and if he can play and he wants to play, throw him out there. I mean, I'm not saying throw him out to the wolves and just all right, every snap you're on the field, but if he does play, we have to be able to stop him. They also have a transfer running back, Christopher Brooks. He came from Cal, and last week he had 13 carries, 135 yards, and 1 touchdown. And that's against USF. But I went back and watched his highlights from last year when he was at Cal, and dude is a dog. 6'1", 230. He's a big old dude.
Yeah,
Um, I'm hoping Baylor will win this game. I mean, I think all of us Baylor fans are wanting us to be able to go into Provo and prove that this young team is ready.
yeah. I'll have to give away a little bit of our Lone Star locks to for me to really get into this game and what I think. So if you haven't checked out that video, go ahead and check it out. I will tell you who I picked for Baylor just because it's only one of the we each did 11 games, so it's only a little snippet of the video. I picked Baylor. The spread was 3.5 on ESPN. Now it's showing at three. We picked it at 3.5, and we did both pick Baylor. Now looking at, I still think Baylor should be able to come away with the win. But looking at Hall, their quarterback, 25 of 32 for 261. That's a 78% completion percentage. That's pretty good. Two touchdowns, a pick, one sack. Um, we'd probably against a team like USF, we'd like to see you not throw a pick, but it happens. I didn't watch it. It could have been the receiver's fault. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like Logan was saying, this running back, Christopher Brooks, seems super dynamic. I mean, really, if you carry the ball more than 3 or 4 times and you're still averaging over 10 yards a carry, unless you just broke one for
Yeah.
a big play, you're pretty good. And so he did this over 30 or 13 rushes. Now his long was 52. If you take 52 yards away on one rush, he's still at 12 for like 80 something yards. That's super efficient. I'd
Mm-hmm.
take that all day from any running back. This Puka Nakua, as a receiver, only had one reception, but actually as a running back, he had 3 carries. Well, he had three for
That was
76, but he had a 75 yarder.
Yeah, that
So
was one of those end around plays like Monterey Baldwin had.
like a jet sweep, yeah.
Yeah.
So that kind of skewed that his rushing stat a little bit, but that does show he is super dynamic. They'll use him multiple places on the field, probably put him in motion a lot if they can. Jaron Hall ran the ball 5 times for 15. Nothing super impressive, but shows that he can get out of the pocket if need be.
Was he the only quarterback that played? I don't have it pulled up right now.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
and so that kind of tells you BYU is probably game planning for Baylor a little bit. They went
Definitely.
ahead and let their starter have the whole game. And mind you, I don't know how bad did they they beat
50-21.
South Florida, right? So they could have yanked him if they wanted to, and they chose not to. So
Yeah,
either they don't have a good backup, or they wanted him to, sling it and get used to the feel of the game.
yeah. I just want to go back now that I'm looking at my notes instead of trying to go off the top of my head. Puka Nakua actually had 5 catches for 168 yards last year against
Last
us.
year,
Yep.
5 for 168.
Yes. Yeah.
That's like 30 yards a carry
Yeah.
or a catch.
Mhm.
How many touchdowns?
One.
So he's getting big plays that he's not even scoring on. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's because Jalen Petrie would chase him down and catch him at like the 5 yard line.
I hope he doesn't do that again, but that'd be fun to watch.
No, it
I
wouldn't.
was a
No, it would
receiver. I
not.
was a receiver, so it would be fun to watch a receiver have a game. Okay,
Yeah,
we'll
I
let
also
Xavier
played.
Worthy do it.
I also
We'll let
played
Xavier
safety,
Worthy do
so
it then.
I get both sides of it.
Ah,
But
I played a little safety, but not
I
much.
put in some of my notes for Baylor is that Blake Shapen is going to have to be able to come out and get the ball going. If the run game comes like slow because either Squirrel's not playing to his full potential or Tay isn't being able to run through the gaps and make a cut and go like we all know that he can.
Yeah,
Blake Shapen's gonna have to come out slinging. I mean, we're gonna have to do something to where we can put them into coverage and get them off the line. Um, I also said for defense, Jaron Hall, he's pretty good at escaping the pocket if need be. Like we saw there, he those rushing attempts that he had, those probably weren't draw plays. They were probably just okay. There's a gap and nobody's open. I'm gonna shoot through it real quick and get a couple
yeah,
yards. Um, biggest thing for going to Provo, keep the fans out of the game, which is a lot easier said than done. Man, those fans in Provo, those are the craziest sober fans you will ever see, and they love that. They love that team. Which, I mean, most of the people in Utah are Mormon, and with that being a Mormon-based school, that makes sense.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's gonna be. I've heard that Provo is a pretty tough place to go on the road to. So I
apparently
would
they hand out
definitely.
ice cream in the fourth, like right before the fourth quarter, so that's kind of dope.
I need
I
to go to
kind of want to go to
Provo.
Provo.
I need to go to Provo, man. Um, yeah. Looking at this, I mean, the quarterback he completed 25 passes. He didn't seem like he had a primary target. I mean, we see three, 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 four, two, two, three. So he
Yeah,
kind of threw the ball a lot. Their fullback even had 3 receptions. He didn't run the ball any,
I
but
think
they
Puka
threw it to him.
Nakua would have had more targets if he wouldn't have hurt his foot for sure.
Probably.
With only having one, and that was their main guy last year. He played
Uh,
great
looking at
last year.
looking at their defense though, he only. Oh, this
But
thing's not working.
Gary
He
Bohanna
only-
did not have a great game. That's for
No,
sure.
he
I
did
think he
not.
threw like 50% or close to it.
Hmm. Uh, Defensively, they only got 1 sack. They had 1 interception.
Yep.
So I mean,
But I mean
not.
that interceptions are Gary Bohannon's. That's his strong suit. Is throwing picks.
Oh, they only had one. So, I mean,
But yeah, I think that Dave Aranda's going to be able to out coach them. I forgot their head coach's name off the top of my head. A lot of our coordinators came from BYU or have coached with the people at BYU, so it's kind of like it's kind of a personal game, and it's also a Big 12 preview for the next like the time going from here.
yeah.
Um, I just put on here at the bottom of my notes is that they played good last week against a pretty bad USF team, but that's nothing to take away from BYU. That's just Gary Bohannon doesn't have targets like he did at Baylor. He doesn't have Tyquan Thornton. He doesn't have RJ Sneed, Drew Estrada. He doesn't have the running backs to be able to hand the ball off and get a couple yards before they do a play action. Um, but I think Dave Aranda is going to be able to come in and game plan for them really well. I think BYU is going to have a really good game plan as well, and it's going to be a game of halftime adjustments. Who makes the better ones? Who comes out of the locker room ready?
Yeah. Uh, this is going to be an interesting game because I feel like talent wise, Baylor should have it. Coaching wise,
Yeah,
Baylor should have it. I
I
don't know
think it
why,
comes down
but
to
there
atmosphere.
does seem to be a part of me that almost wonders: am I sleeping on BYU a little?
I'm trying
Uh,
not to. BYU's a good team. We saw that last year. We beat them, I think,
yeah,
38-21 at in Waco. That was because of our running backs.
they're coming for revenge.
That's what I'm saying. That's
Yeah,
why
it's
I'm
gonna be a
like,
good game.
I,
Good thing
it's
is
going to
it's
be a one
Saturday
score game.
night. Saturday night we'll be off work. We can sit down and watch it.
That's
Um,
another thing about it being so late is that Baylor's not used to that. BYU is going to be used to having those 9 o'clock slots, and Baylor's just going to be sitting in the hotel room, just like, all
true.
right, when are we going to the
And
stadium?
crowds get more rowdy at night. That's
Yup, because they're all ready to go home.
well, I mean that, and it's just there's something when I was at the Longhorns game, and when it got dark and the lights kick on, you're like, it just feels different. There's a different feel. In the day,
Yeah,
you're like, all right, it's hot. Come on, somebody close this, make it a dome. And then at night, it's cooled off, and it's time to go. It's got some
yeah,
football on.
yeah,
So,
for real.
well, I think it's gonna be a pretty well matched game. Once again, the over under on that was what? It was like 55 or
55, I believe.
53, somewhere in there.
Let me go
So
check and pull
they're
it.
kind of
No, I didn't.
expecting a
It's
decent
53 and a half.
53 and a half. So they're kind of expecting a decent scoring game.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's going to be fun. I could see this going multiple ways, but we did both pick Baylor. So,
Yeah, that's like I
or wait,
said in
Sick 'em Bears.
there you go, sickle. That's like I said in the Larks pod. It's gonna be a second half game.
Yeah,
I mean, I
for
don't
sure.
think the first half will be high scoring, or even if it is, it's gonna be high scoring first half, low scoring second half, or low scoring first half, high scoring second half. I mean, it could go a lot of
I
different
wouldn't mind a
ways.
shootout. I like watching
Dude,
a good
I
shootout.
wouldn't either. It would stress me out, but I would
I
love to
think
see
Baylor's
Blake Shapen and
defense is
Jaron Hall just going
better.
back and forth and back and
I
forth.
think Baylor's defense will be stout enough where they could survive and pull off a win in a
Yeah,
shootout.
I think that we have the people we have in our secondary that came back. They're good quality returners. We don't
Yeah.
have many of them as far as secondary, but they're good quality returners. But BYU
Uh,
returned 8 and 8.
I've got one thing on that 8-8. I did hear on the Cover Three Sports podcast. For those of you who don't listen, go check it out. CBS Cover Three Sports. Chip Patterson, Tom
And
Fernelli, a
company.
bunch of other people.
Yeah,
Yeah. They did say BYU has the most out of all production players, like they are returning the most in all of college
in the
football.
nation. Yeah.
So that's kind of that's tough. I mean,
I mean, Jaron Hall
If
and
I had known that, I might have leaned Baylor winning, but not covering the spread. Oh, well, I
I
guess
mean
Baylor just
us
has to
winning
win.
would yeah.
I might have just said maybe BYU wins, but maybe not by the 4. I don't know. 4 is such a small number. It seems like a small number, and then there's a lot of games. Last week we saw decided by a field goal as far as the spread goes.
Or Iowa
But
and
right,
whoever.
South Dakota State. Uh, you got anything else to add on this, man?
Oh man, I'm just it's going to be a nerve wracking game for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm never going to count BYU out, no matter how big the league gets up to. We can be up by 21, and I'm like, well, Puka Nakua is going to come out of the woodworks, even if he is out for the game, and
I
it's going to
mean,
stare me.
they had 312 rushing yards last week for 8.5. If they control the running game, it's gonna be tough. Definitely gonna be tough.
That's another thing. Our D line is going to have to step up. Our linebackers are going to have to fill gaps, but also be ready for those play actions where they need to go up and then be able to drop back in an instant to cover the
Yeah.
play action slant.
Yeah. Will y'all do us a favor? Y'all like the video? Leave a comment. Let us know what y'all think. Let us know if you think Baylor or BYU is gonna win. It's Thursday night. We're recording this. It'll go up on Friday. So you got almost 2 full days. You got all of Friday and most of Saturday. Um, and subscribe to the channel. Let us know. Give us some ideas what we can do. We're gonna get to 100. And we're gonna do a $25 giveaway. Those will be your best odds to win. So doesn't hurt nothing. Subscribe, and then when we get to 100, you can unsubscribe. Hurts
Yes,
nothing.
sir.
So but all right, we're gonna get off here. We're gonna do a Texas and Bama preview. So if you're watching this, we'll try to put a link on this corner to that video. So
I need to get a
y'all check
Texas
us
hat,
out. Yeah.
but
All right,
all right,
we're good.
we'll catch you on the next one.
Take them Bears.
Ooh, second.